Hey, John here from John's Do It Yourself. I don't want to waste your time skimming this video only to find out that you have a different type of choke. So this is how you change the cable type choke on a 1995 Sea-Doo SP. It should look like this diagram. If you look under the front shield and see this type of suction choke, then this video is not for you. This is the choke of an XP. I will not be changing this one out in this video. I have already purchased my new choke cable, so if you haven't gotten yours yet, the link is in the description. First, you need to remove the old housing. I will use the new cable as a guide to see what I am dealing with, and it looks pretty simple. A shield on both sides held tight with a nut on the underside. So just reaching underneath, let's see if we can unscrew the nut by hand first so we don't have to resort to wrenches. And yes, this was pretty easy. It appears that it was not the first time this choke had been replaced. I see that a large washer has been used as the underside shield. I also dropped the nut somewhere in the well bay. Hopefully we can find it later. So now there are two ways to feed the cable through. One is to cut the cable stop off at the very end and pull off your underside shield and nut and then just feed it through. At this point in the video, I had not removed the carburetor cover yet, so I didn't know if the cable stop was actually needed, like it is in the throttle cable. But I can tell you now that it is not, so you can choose to cut off the end piece if the cable becomes too difficult for you to fold in half. In order to do this, slide your underside shield about halfway to the center of the cable. Fold the cable in half. Be careful not to put a kink in it, but it's pretty bendy. Take your underside shield and from corner to corner feed it through the opening. Once through, feed the rest of the lower cable through the opening. Once through, you can slide your undershield and nut back up to the top. While I was doing this, I thought to myself, why not clean this area before I put the screw back on tight? And just like that, the dirt magically disappears. These pieces are plastic and you might damage them if you use a wrench, so only finger tighten them. If you have trouble with the nut popping off while you're checking it, place some super glue on the threads before you screw the nut back on, and that will resolve your problem. Once it's all back together, you can check that everything still works. Now, up to this point, I was hoping that I could just clip the cable stop into some sort of groove that was designed for the cable, but as luck would have it, it was a no-go. You will need to remove the top of the carburetor, but this is pretty easy and should only take an extra few minutes. First, start by disattaching the emulsion tube from the air tank of the carburetor. Should be a simple pipe collar. You'll need a flathead screwdriver to do this. Then, with an Allen wrench, take off the top of the carburetor air filter cover. This one might be a little bit different, as it looks like the owner before me has piecemealed a few parts together from other skis to get this to work. So not all of the screws are here. Remove the filter cover plate, and if the fuel hose is attached to the base of your filter, you can unscrew that too. And it is just a simple pipe clamp as well with a flathead screwdriver. Now, with a small flathead screwdriver or something else that's very thin, pry out the rubber seal on the air filter to get it to pop out. Looking straight down at the air filter casing, you have 3 Allen screws to remove in order to get below to the carburetor choke lever. Once the 3 Allen screws are removed, you can easily attach the cable to the bottom of the air filter casing and then feed it through the rocker arm on the carburetor. Once attached, your cable should look like this, mounted on the bottom of the air filter casing. It was at this point I realized I could have cut off my cable stop to begin with when feeding it through the pull handle hole, because there's no other way to get it through without cutting off your end stop. You will need to feed the cable through this small hole right here, and then hold it in place by tightening down the small Allen screw on the end until it's taut. From here, you can put everything back together. When taking this apart, I noticed that there was absolutely no gasket on this. I'm not sure how anyone who rebuilt this would think that this was a good idea, but before I put it back together, I improvised and traced and cut out my own gasket before screwing this back together. As I continued on, I realized I had to make another gasket. But other than that, your choke is fixed and you are ready to get this ski back in the water.